The Dallas Stars now have a 2-1 series lead in their series with the Colorado Avalanche. Joey Erickson of Locked On Stars is here to talk about that up and down series and what it'll take for the Stars to emerge victorious. All that and more next on today's Locked On NHL podcast.
You're Locked On NHL, your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Gil Martin here. Welcome, everybody, to the Monday edition of the Locked On NHL podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On NHL your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you can get new episodes as soon as they drop. It is my pleasure to welcome back to the show the host of Locked On Dallas Stars, Joey Erickson. And Joey, an exciting Game 3. The Stars up now 2-1. Big road win. What was the key to victory in Game 3 for the Stars?
Yeah, I thought Dallas did a wonderful job of surviving an avalanche. No pun intended there. Well, it was sort of intended, but I thought they did a fantastic job of just kind of hanging in there. And I think the Stars went into Game 3 with the mindset of, hey, we have to force Colorado to get through 5 white sweaters to get to the front of our net and defend really, really hard because, of course, in games 1 and 2, Colorado got a little spark in the third period, and then it snowballed into something a lot more than Dallas wanted it to. And against Vegas, they were so defensively stout against the Golden Knights and really had no problems closing out the 4 wins they had in that series. And then you get to games 1 and 2, and it is a more difficult task, I think, with Colorado just having the best offense in the NHL throughout the regular season. So you have to find ways to limit Nathan MacKinnon and Makar, which is really, really hard to do. But if you can force Colorado to go through 5 guys before they get to Jake Ottinger, then good things can happen for you. And I think Dallas did a phenomenal job of being really, really comfortable in their defensive posture. And when Colorado broke down, even if it was for only a moment, the Stars capitalized and they scored. And once again, they play from ahead. And that is huge. The more they can play without trailing, I think it is going to bode well for the Stars. They haven't trailed in the series. Of course, they lost in OT, but they haven't trailed in the series yet. The first period was really, really important with Jake Ottinger just being fantastic in the first 20. The Stars had to kill off 3 penalties. And if you can keep their special teams off the board, good things will happen. And Dallas, they scored just enough. And that third period was clinical. One of the best defensive performance we've seen throughout the postseason. And that's what Pete DeBoer is hoping for moving forward in this series because they hadn't won a third period yet. That was a huge third period on the road. And Dallas continues to be a really good road team. They were the best, of course, throughout the NHL in the regular season, and they're now 3-1 so far in the first 2 series. So good things ahead. You have the series lead, and well, you have a chance to kind of go for the neck, so to speak, if you take Game 4.
Cale Makar, obviously one of the more talented, game-changing players in the game right now. What is the Stars' approach to trying to limit his effectiveness in this series?
Well, I think for the most part, it's just try to keep him on the outside, keep him perimeter. I thought they did a really good job in Game 3 of forcing him to the outside. And another thing that Dallas did, especially against some of the bigger names for Colorado, you're going to see a lot of Chris Tanev and a lot of Esa Lindell, the best defensive pairing for Dallas. And anytime they make one fumble, they have one mishandle, they cough it up, they are sending someone to them automatically. You cannot give them time and space, of course. I thought the Stars did an excellent job of pressuring their defense. And in the neutral zone specifically, they're not allowing Makar and let's say Samuel Girard to just cruise through between the blue lines and be creative off the rush. They really forced Colorado to dump pucks in, which is not really their type of game. They don't want to do that. They want to use their speed and get wide and create plays that way. But they forced Colorado to have to throw a lot of pucks in deep and have to forecheck. And the Stars did a much better job of quelling that forecheck by just being really, really strong on pucks in the corners. And Makar's going to get his looks. he's just that talented. But yeah, I think that the more they pressure him and stay on top of him, and I even saw moments in Game 3 against McKinnon specifically. If he turned, I mean, they would send another guy just to try to go attack him and just get the puck off his stick. Make someone else beat you. But besides number 8, that's Makar's number, right? I can forget. He's a flash.
So, yeah.
Along with McKinnon in 20. Try to make someone else beat you, because what the Stars do have sort of advantages is depth. I think Colorado's the much more talented, maybe much more superstar revolving team, but Dallas has better depth. I think they have probably the best depth out of the remaining teams, maybe besides a New York. So they have to use that to their advantage. And if you can keep those guys off the board, good things will happen. I think Makar's without a point in games 2 and 3 now. And I think when he scores, they're like 22-7 in the postseason. They're pretty much unbeatable. And he had 3 points in the first game. He made his impact. So Dallas is doing a great job against him. It's really hard to do, but if you keep him off the score sheet, good things will happen.
Talk to me about Jake Ottinger, what he's meant to this team all year and what he's meant in this series so far.
Yeah, it was an up and down year. He wasn't the Jake Ottinger a lot of Stars fans wanted to see, and I think the conversation revolving around him can be a little bit divisive. It seems you're either really for him or you think he's a fraud. And look, Jake Ottinger is a franchise goaltender. I don't think anybody can argue that. Maybe he's not top 5 or elite. Maybe he's not to the Shesterkin or Hellenbeck level, but I think he's damn near it. And time again, when the Stars need him most, he usually shows up really, really big. And if you go back since Game 2 of that first round against Vegas, he's 6-3, a .930 save percentage, and a 1.91 goals against average. So he's doing very, very well, and he's not giving up a ton of soft goals. There hasn't been really a head scratcher in the series. Of course, you want him to stop everything, but it's really hard. And maybe what works against him sometimes is when he burst onto the scene in that series against Calgary, where it was just, I mean, you couldn't beat him. It was unbelievable how many saves he made. And I think sometimes our expectations are that. And that's not possible. Like he's a human. He's not going to live up to that standard every single time. But damn, when you need him most, Game 7 against Vegas, first 2 periods against Colorado here the other day, he's fantastic. And he wasn't great at home all year. Statistically, he's like top 8 on the road this season. It's really a huge reason why Dallas has been successful on the road. You usually need good goaltending, and he plays great on the road. So, I mean, he's going to be the key, and that's kind of a cop-out answer in a lot of ways. Like, your goalie's always important. You have to have great net minding, and the Stars are getting it, which is a great sign, because it was a little bumpy throughout the year, but he's really cleaned it up here, and hopefully that lasts.
Talk to me about special teams in this series and how important that's going to be the rest of the way.
Yeah, special teams change the complexion of a lot of games. And if you look at Game 2 specifically, Colorado shot themselves in the foot a lot. I think 2 bench minors in that one. They had a delay a game, so that's 6 minutes right there of penalty minutes where it's really unforced errors in a lot of way. And Dallas, struck a couple of times there. They get a shorthanded goal from Sagan to make it 4-0. And that's pretty much all she wrote. I know Colorado made it really, really intriguing down the stretch, but Dallas was able to hold on. Their PK has been a lot better. And as I alluded to earlier, the Stars are being a much more aggressive against the Colorado power play. they're pressuring them high. They're not letting them get settled and spread out and create plays, because if you allow them to get comfortable, they're going to make you pay, along with great shot blocking. I mean, Tanev stopped a goal yesterday on a McKinnon one-timer. So they've been really, really good in that aspect. They killed the last 6 power plays from Colorado. And if you can keep them off the board in special teams, good things are going to happen too. Power plays are big, but I think the penalty kill is even more important for Dallas, because it hasn't been, I would say, as surefire as you would hope to be. But they've been excellent here in the last few games. And I think if they can keep Colorado off the board in that aspect, frustration can start to build up throughout a series, because Colorado beat the brakes off of Winnipeg in the first round. So if you can keep them to, two goals a night, and maybe it's just 5-on-5 goals, I think that bodes well for Dallas. And hopefully you get some of their stars that are holding the stick a bit too tight, and that can help your cause.
All right, Joey, why don't you tell our viewers and our listeners where they could find the podcast and where they could find you on social media?
Absolutely. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts, of course. Locked On Stars. You can follow Locked On Stars at Twitter, or you can follow me on Twitter as well at Joey the Jet 19, throwing stuff out every day and enjoying the postseason in general. It's been great.
All right, Joey, thanks so much. Always a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers.